It's that time, baby. Y'all already know the NBA lockout is officially over, so we got to get somebody on the phone this morning who can break it down to me, the listeners, and everybody who want to hear about it. So, you know, my Rolodex is long. No, I got his number in my phone. He my boy, Stephen A. Smith. Put your hands together, Stephen A.
Yeah.
Good morning, y'all. How y'all doing?
Hey, Stephen A. Morning.
How you doing, man?
How's everything going?
We good, brother. Talk to me, man. When do we start playing some basketball?
You start playing Christmas Day. New York will host Boston. New York will host Boston at the Garden.
Okay.
The Miami Heat will then be in Dallas, Texas, to watch the ring ceremony that Dallas earned by beating them down in the NBA Finals last year. And then the nightcap will be Derrick Rose and the Chicago Bulls going up against Kobe Bryant and the Los Angeles Lakers.
When you come back, you come back strong. So, Steven, why was it so important for Christmas? Why? Because Santa Claus is a Laker fan? What's happening?
What it is on a serious note, you know, when you've got Major League Baseball reaching an accord a year before their collective bargaining deal was supposed to expire, and everything is all good with them, and you got the NFL thriving like never before, and everything was thriving for them, and they're America's passion. You simply couldn't afford to miss games because people are fine without basketball so long as they've got their football. But right around Christmas time, you know, it's one thing to be annoyed and disgusted with the guys, millionaires, billionaires, arguing over hundreds of millions of dollars.
Right.
And what happens is that you miss games on Christmas Day. That's really like a big and very significant thing. And
we look for
if they had missed those Christmas Day games, the fans would have turned against them, and it would have been real ugly.
Oh yeah.
Hey man, so we didn't. How many games did we get to play? Because we missed quite a few games.
66, I'm sure. 66 games. You ultimately end up missing 16 games. Season's going to be like additional week longer. The NBA playoffs and the finals are going to be pushed back a week. But ultimately, the fact that you got 66 games, you're going to still have 66 games in a season instead of 82. It's that simple.
Okay.
And so the All-Star game is going to happen then now, right?
I believe it will, but they have not announced that yet, so we can't say so definitively.
But where might it be if they announce it? Gold Digger alert. Where can we land? Orlando.
Well, it'll probably be in Orlando. It'll probably be in Orlando. I don't think that's going to change. It'll be in Orlando, but I don't know if it's going to be the same week it was scheduled to be. I personally see no problem with it. I don't think they have to change anything that much. It'll be enough games, and quite honestly, you know, considering the fans, they got their, you know, you vote in the starters by the fans and all that other stuff. I definitely think it's worth it, and I definitely think they should have it also.
You know what, Steve? Break this down, man. What was the big fight about? So everybody can clearly know what it was.
Well, a couple of big fights. What they call the system issues. Anytime you have a collective bargaining agreement, you have things like penalties for teams who spend more than the league would like, and you know, things that are called mid-level exceptions and things of that nature. What happens is that's an exception to, you know, certain financial constraints that are on the salary cap where a guy can't get a maximum deal. So what he'll do is he'll come in there, and even though he's not worth, you know, 60, 70, 80 million dollars, he is worth, you know, 25 to 40 million. But you might not have that available per se to give him in salary. So you'll call it the mid-level exception, where he's a mid-level player. You have that available to you. You can give it to him no matter what. You have that issue. Then you have what they call basketball-related income. And that is if the players are receiving 57%, they knocked it down to 50%, the owners, because they didn't want the players getting that much money. Well, every single point is worth approximately $300 million. So by going from 57% to 50% of basketball-related income, essentially what the owners did was say, we're going to make more money anyway, but we don't want you to be able to, you know, to stick your hand in that cookie jar for more of the profits like you used to get. So now instead of getting 57% of basketball-related income, you're only going to get 50%. So
which is still a lot.
That's costing the players about $1.8 to $2 billion.
So Stephen, they was getting 50%, 57% when Jordan was playing. Is that true? They was getting 57%.
No. Jordan had retired then. From 1998 on, they were getting about 57%. So for the last 12 years or so, they were getting like 57%. But the league is saying, well, you were getting 57% of revenue that was coming in at about $4.3 billion annually. We're anticipating we're going to make anywhere from $5 to $7 billion annually over the course of the next decade or so. But instead of giving you 57% for that, we only going to give you 50% of that.
So
okay,
why
Stephen.
Why is that a good negotiating tactic? I don't understand.
Well, it wasn't good for the players. That's what they were sitting there fighting over because they didn't want to give away all that money. But the owners were saying we've been losing an average of $300 million per year. 8 teams made $150 million combined last year, but the other 22 teams lost a combined $450 million last year, and we've been losing that money annually. So we can't continue to let y'all get this percentage because we're in the red losing this money every year, and we've got to offset our losses. That's what they were fighting over, but ultimately the owner's signatures on the front of the check, whereas the player signatures are on the back of the check. So the owners ended up getting exactly what they wanted in that regard.
Okay, man, I got to know this. Does this deal stop any of these NBA stars from going to the same team like the trio in Miami?
No, it doesn't. Not at all. But it does. There is a dissuasive measure that's been put in there. Basically, when you went over what they called like a luxury ticket, and that's a little bit convoluted, so I'm not going to get into that. But the bottom line is, let's say, for example, your team payroll was $70 million. The luxury tax trigger number was $70 million. Well, if you spent a penny over a dollar over $70 million, it was once a dollar for dollar tax, which means that the Lakers, whose payroll last year was $95 million, spent $25 million over the luxury tax number. As a result of spending that $25 million, they had to pay a $25 million fine back to the league, which was then divided amongst teams who didn't go over that luxury tax number. It was a dollar for dollar tax. Now, they've
Caller,
made
you get that? You get that, caller?
Yeah, Stephen A. is the expert. I love to hear him talk. I love watching him. Go ahead.
So now they made it so it'll be $1.50 tax for every dollar you overspend for $1 to $5 million over. But if you go $5 to $10 million over, it'll be a $2.25 tax. If you go $10 to $15 million over, it'll be a $2 to $2.75 tax.
Do the math, boy.
You overspend. That's how you do it.
But Stephen, does that bring equity to the teams that don't have the machine that the marquee teams
players
have? What
happens is that those large owners that have been customarily overspending, the problem is that, again, it's a dissuasive measure for them to overspend. It's to dissuade them from overspending. But the guys that overspent usually were the billionaires anyway. So the point is they're saying either you're not going to spend that money because they wanted to create more of a competitive balance. Either they're not going to spend that money, or if they do, they're going to pay a stiffer penalty, which will be divvied up amongst those who didn't overspend anyway. And that's how it works.
Hey, Stephen, one last question, man. Can Dallas repeat?
Yes, they can.
Wow.
I still believe that Miami can win it all if LeBron James shows up and plays. I mean, the guy's the best talent in the game overall. There is no excuse for him to come up as small as he did during the NBA Finals. He rectifies that. Miami can win it all. If he does,
Stephen,
we gotta go.
Who the top 5 I should be going for, Stephen? Who the top 5 players I should be hemming up?
Kobe.
Yo.
LeBron.
Yo.
D-Wade.
Yeah.
Dirk Nowitzki.
Yeah.
Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
Hey, we got to go, Stephen, man. We appreciate you calling in, brother, shedding some light on the NBA so we know what's happening. We thank you so much.
No problem, y'all. Take it easy.
You're listening to the Steve Harvey Morning Show.